Albert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, broadcasting on the DVC to all points unknown. If you're within the sound of my voice, you're listening to Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Hello and welcome home. This episode of Welcome Home is brought to you by DVC Resale Market. Thank you for joining us on episode 266 of Welcome Home, a Disney Parks and Vacation Club podcast. I'm Tom, I'm here with Trevor.
Hey.
Got no Damon this week. Damon's busy preparing for his own vacation.
Yeah, he is in vacation packing mode, which I get that.
I don't like packing for vacation. I don't know about you. I don't know. Maybe it's like a travel like anxiety kind of thing where it's like I've never left the house for vacation thinking that I have everything that I'm supposed to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the way that I alleviate that is, and my wife hates that I do this, is that I start packing like a month ahead of time, and it's not like I don't have like all the clothes and everything packed, but it's like I will checklist everything and I will like make sure that we have all the things that we can packed. And then the week before it's it's funny because I do that to make myself, less stressed. But then, the week before I'm still stressed for exactly the same reason, is that, you're getting everything packed and then it's like, oh, did I remember this? Did I you just can't, it's hard because you can't, at least for me, it's like if I forget something, I know that there's places nearby I could probably find it, but it's way harder for me to find equivalent things that I need, because in Canada, like we have a lot of the same things, but they're under different brands, or it's not it's similar but not quite the same.
Similar but not the same.
I get packing is stressful, especially like Damon's doing a cruise, which is even I can't even fathom actually packing for a cruise.
Right.
The thing about that is that you're like I said, if I go to Disney, it's like, oh, I missed something. Like, I can take an Uber over to a Walmart.
Yeah, you can't do that on the cruise.
Cruise, you're on a cruise. Like there's
but they have stores and stuff. I mean, they have stores and stuff. But it's if there's something critical you forgot that you can't get on like a cruise ship, then that's a challenge.
It's not always everything exactly that you need, right? Like, I mean, but I guess you don't need everything on a cruise either, right?
Yeah,
like it's different.
Yeah, no, agreed. I just hate pack. I just don't like it. And I'm also like I'm an overpacker,
Mm-hmm.
I've always seen these memes where it's like, I'll
going for 3 days, bring 12 shirts.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I wear the same shorts for 4 days, bring 10 pairs. That's me though. Like I like to have, I joke with my wife that I like to have options, right? Because I do. And it's not even like I care about what I'm wearing. I really don't. Like, I'm not the type of person that in any way is trying to impress anybody with my clothing choices, But I just like to like know that like if it's, maybe it's going to be a rainy day, I have the shorts with me that are, like the fast dry ones that are more like the bathing suit kind of material, like, or I want a different color for a certain day, or, it's that kind of stuff. And I also bring specific shirts to Disney with me too. Like, I have my Muppets Haunted Mansion shirt, which is always everybody's favorite. All the cast, literally every time I wear that, I have like every cast member says like, that shirt's amazing. And last time actually I was wearing that, I was there, my wife decided to do matching shirts, which we'd never done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. It wasn't that bad. Okay.
two people is fine. Okay, so
no. It was with my in-laws too, though. So it was with my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and the kids. Like we were all doing it.
Okay, that makes it worse. Because I was gonna say, when it's 2 people, it's like, that's okay. But when there's like 12 people all wearing the same shirt, that gets
But at the same time, so it was like me and my brother-in-law had the same shirt, and then my wife and her sister had a similar shirt, right? Or maybe it was the same shirt. And she was like, oh, well, we can do this on different days. And I'm like, no, I'm not wearing a matching shirt with my brother-in-law on a random day where the rest of you are not wearing matching shirts. If we're doing matching shirts, we're all doing it. Like but they were. See, the thing was, they weren't all matching, right? So my shirt matched to my brother-in-law. My wife's matched to her sisters, and the kids matched, right? So, but they were all different things, you know?
Okay, so that's better in that you're matching, but it's like broken up. And I hope it wasn't like lime green shirts.
No,
that you guys were wearing.
It was a gray shirt that has some X-wings on them, and it says pew 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 all over it. So my wife and I have always made like jokes about we've always with the Star Wars sounds, the pew 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 pew, we've joked about that all the time. So that's why my wife bought it for me. But I got a surprising amount of commentary from people on that one. Like cast members were talking a lot about it.
Okay, so I was envisioning the family vacation 2024.
No, we didn't do that.
Okay.
Thank goodness for that.
Good. Okay, yeah. And if anybody that has done that, that is your choice. If you're listening to this podcast and you're mad because I'm saying this, don't be mad because I'm allowed to have my opinion. But those are the worst shirts. Period.
I mean, yeah.
Because the thing is you guys wore matching shirts, but you still had people commenting on them because the shirt had at least some thought put into it, or it conveyed something other than like we're on vacation, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I get what you're saying. It's like I don't care about what I'm wearing either, but when I'm at Disney, I do. I don't know if you do this, but I actually think about my shirt selection based on the park that I'm going to.
Yes,
I try to avoid wearing like an EPCOT themed shirt at Magic Kingdom because it doesn't feel right? Yeah,
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
you try to I know the thing is like you could wear it and people be like, oh yeah, EPCOT, you were over there kind of thing. But I feel like it's like you kind of try and focus it to the area that you're in. Right.
Well, no, and to your point, I won't wear my Muppets Haunted Mansion shirt outside of Magic Kingdom. Like that's a Magic Kingdom.
You could wear that to Hollywood Studios, though. I think that's fair.
That's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yeah, it crosses both, so that's not the worst thing. I know, and people are listening to us going, "We're making up all these rules about like where you can wear your shirts now."
Yeah, I sent you the shirt, I don't think it's the exact shirt, but it's similar to this.
Oh yeah. I've seen this one before. Yeah. I like that actually. That's not the worst matching shirt to be wearing.
No, sure. Because like you said, it's not the family vacation 2024. Yeah. What year is it? No. When my wife said she got matching shirts, that's what I was envisioning, but that's not what it ended up being. So.
I just had a bit of an unhinged idea. The next time I go, I want to make I'm planning to go in like 2025, and I want to make like a family vacation 2027 shirt.
Oh, okay, that would be funny
because then people will be like,
wait a second,
what do you mean? And then you can you can make like a weird conversation about time travel or something. Like that to me would be funny and meta, but yeah, I'm sure nobody would get it, but I would do that because to me that would be funny.
I've actually seen some people, and I think this is actually really cool, where they have like on the back of their shirts, they have like a timeline, and it has like each one of their vacations over the years,
Mm-hmm.
And I think. Yeah.
Like a concert shirt, right?
You're like a concert shirt. Yeah. And people have like customized them that way. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, although if I were to do that, I'm terrible at remembering when I went on vacation. Like, I don't remember years and, dates or anything like that. Like
Google Photos will tell me.
Well, that's what it is, right? That's what it is. So how did we get on this conversation?
Because we went from packing to t-shirts to I mean, it was a fair line of discussion. It wasn't like we went over into like ping pong or something like that.
Right. Should we read a review and get into our topics for the show here?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this review is from somebody who looks like they fell asleep on their keyboard when they were typing out their username. I don't know what that's supposed to say.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try and
No.
figure that one out either.
No, I think you should read this one though, because I feel like this is in reference to a thing you said.
All right. So, yeah. So it says great discussions about all things Disney. Awesome podcast about all things waffles Disney. Okay, fine. You got it in there. Honest opinions talking about the positive and negatives. I like how they will tell you if something is worth it or not. And the rhubarb just flows like good conversation. It's DK Shishandi.
Literally, it looks like they just like did a thing where you like, pound on the keys, and did some random keys.
Or I'm guessing it's probably an amalgamation of like first and last names, because people do that too. So and it looks random. So, but yeah, thank you for the review.
Just because yeah.
Yeah, let's put that one into AI and see what it does. I'm sure it'll probably struggle with it.
I just want to know what a random person that's never listened to the show before is like reading interviews and sees the waffles and rhubarb thing in there and is like, wait, what?
I mean, then maybe you need to listen to the show.
There you go. Yeah, maybe that will get people to listen. I don't know. Yeah. Let's talk Island Tower, Trevor. I know we've been talking about it a lot, but they keep like giving us little pieces, little pieces here and there.
I'm sure they will all the way up until December when it actually opens. But so far, the latest thing is there's new renderings showing the pool. And I mean, the full studio or deluxe studio interior, we've already seen that in a video. So I mean, that's less impressive to me, but I'm more interested in the pool area, because I was trying to figure out I knew kind of where it was going to sit, but how that's going to look compared to like the main pool at the Poly, right?
Well, it's the standard. I feel like it's the standard DVC resort pool, right? Where it's like nothing fancy. It's like
a standard pool. Auxiliary pool is what it is. It's not even DVC specific. It's that Disney does their main pools. And then there's auxiliary pools because they know that they can't have everybody in one pool. But the secondary pools, honestly, always look very boring.
Yeah, they do.
And yeah.
And I mean, like, I'm not that bothered by it, to be totally honest. Like, it's fine. Like, even when I was at Saratoga, that's the way it is at Saratoga, right? Is you have like the main pool that's highly themed, and then the rest of the pools, which may be themed a little bit, or may not have any theme at all, right? Like, and that's just kind of what they do. But this kind of looks like it's in that kind of category, like you said, Trevor. I will say, though, the one thing you do get from this pool is a nice view. Yes, I mean, the pool's right on the beach there. So
that is definitely one win that the Island Tower has over the other secondary, because there is a DVC pool on the other side at the Poly as well. And the thing is, though, is that pool, any view is blocked. There's one of the buildings blocking the view going towards Magic Kingdom. This pool has a wide open view of the lake, like you said. So, for anyone that's staying there, that's a real easy come back to the room with the kids. The kids are playing in the pool at night, and then the fireworks go off. Like, I mean, how great is that, right?
You could watch the fireworks from the pool. I mean, like, that's
that's one of the redeeming qualities of this for sure. Like I said, I know it's like the secondary pools are boring, and I didn't expect it to be like a fully themed pool. I was hoping maybe they would have, but it's a pretty standard pool. But like you said, it has a very nice view. So
it's not even a little bit themed, which again, it's fine. Like it's what I kind of expected it to be.
It looks like the other pool, honestly. Like it's just a basic pool. Like
which is okay. It's if you want a fancy pool, you go to the fancy pool. That's how that.
Yeah, I mean that's true. I guess they don't always have to have water slides and whatnot. But yeah, it's. I mean, I guess if you just want somewhere to float for a couple hours at the end of your day, that's all I would do with it.
Well, I mean, so as somebody who goes to my the pool in my neighborhood pretty frequently, and is annoyed on a fairly constant basis by rowdy children that are unsupervised, I feel like the side pools can be kind of nice for those kinds of things because they tend to be a little bit quieter. Like you said, you kind of like can just go over there and like soak for a little bit. It's not like a thing you have to deal with, getting sprayed in the face with a water gun or getting hit in the head with a football. Two things that have happened to me at my pool.
I was going to say that this sounds very specific.
It is very specific because they both happened. Anyway, that's a different conversation, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think they even allow like playing with balls and stuff in the pool, or at least that's actually one thing I've never seen at Disney is like kids play in the pool, but I don't think they allow a lot of extra stuff. Like I think that it feels to me like they're cognizant of that, but also I guess the fact that people are on vacation at Disney, they're not bringing like sporting equipment to the hotel with them, I guess. So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know why we didn't cover this. I guess it's my fault really because I write the outlines. But they DVC News, where we get a lot of our stuff from, and they're a very good, reliable source. They actually broke it down by how many by view type. The expectations for views, which obviously
I did read that as well. So it is an estimation.
Yeah, it's a guess. It's a guess. Yeah. So, like, they're saying that obviously there's going to be theme park view rooms. Those are the ones going to face Magic Kingdom. And they're saying preferred rooms that'll be like a pool view, maybe. So, but we don't know though. So, because you might get like preferred view, you'll probably still get some like view of Magic Kingdom, right? Like,
yeah, I wonder if that's maybe like lower floors because I feel like the lower floors may have things blocking them. So then they don't want to sell it as a theme park view necessarily.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they also broke out here what they're estimating the room mix is going to look like, which again is interesting because they're saying there's going to be and this is an estimation, right? And they're 268 total rooms. And basically what they're saying here is 2-person duo studios, 34, deluxe studios, 97, 1 bedrooms, 24, 2 bedrooms, 17, lock-off 2 bedrooms, 46, and 4 of the 2-bedroom penthouses. So it's interesting that they don't have a 3-bedroom, right, at all. There's no Grand Villa here, but they have that 2-bedroom penthouse thing.
Right.
So, that exists. I'm assuming because it's a penthouse, it's on the top floor, right? Like that's.
Oh, it should be. I mean,
yeah, I'm assuming
if you're getting the super fancy suite, it better be on the top floor.
Yeah. So I just for some reason hadn't seen this article, but I mean, it all makes sense. Mm-hmm. They're pretty good at estimating these things. They've done a good job with this in the past. Because they can actually, they do it based on, they don't just like guess, they do it just based on like the dimensions of the resort and the filings that Disney does and stuff like that. So
So that's the thing is like you said, it's not just a guess. They're looking at a bunch of information and based on the information that they have, they're kind of like putting Lego blocks together. Well, you could fit this many rooms onto a floor of this type, and they're doing it that way, which. Yeah, I mean, they'll probably be pretty close to what it actually is. And I guess for some reason, and I should stop thinking like this, is that, when the Disneyland Tower opened, there was something like, it was 300 suites, but I realized that not all of those suites are studios. Like I was thinking like 300 studios for some reason. But when you actually break it down, it's like, oh yeah, it actually kind of makes sense that it's like, there's like 100 studios, 100 or not. Yeah. I can't remember the number breakdowns you gave now.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it makes sense how they're broken out. And for some reason in my head, I thought that this was going to like vastly increase the amount of rooms at the Polynesian, but really it's not, because there's 3 other buildings that it's competing with. And I guess maybe it's total doubling the size of it, but it just felt like it was a lot more than what it was. Right. Like looking at the construction of the building and everything, like the last time we were there, it felt like there was going to be way more people at the Poly, but also looking at the pool and everything too. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think anybody who stays at the Poly now is going to notice too much of a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's kind of the case though. Like with most resorts, right? Like, because we look at it and we're like, oh, there's these giant resorts, and they are big, but then you're talking only a couple thousand people are there, right? Which is not that many in the grand scheme of the giant Walt Disney World Resort, right?
Yeah.
So,
when you're dealing with 30,000 plus people at Magic Kingdom,
exactly.
It's a few more people at the hotel doesn't make that much of a difference.
Yeah, exactly. And like with that amount of rooms and like, I don't know, say like an average of like 3 people, you're talking not that many people are going to be staying there. It's it's really not that big of a, like you said, it looks big though. It looks like a huge resort, especially since you can see it from Magic Kingdom, Yeah. But anyway, so you want to talk about the big controversial thing now?
Let's talk about Magic Kingdom, and let's talk about the hot topic of the week, which is they have announced a new Disney Vacation Club lounge in Magic Kingdom, which I believe we did. We talked about this as a rumor a while ago.
We did.
It is actually happening. That as of sorry, let me make sure I got the date right, because this is coming up in like the next week. They're closing the Frontierland shooting arcade.
Yep.
And I thought they wrote a date on here, or did I miss it?
No, there's a date somewhere. I don't see, it's not on this article, but there's dates out there. I don't have it on this article though.
Yeah. So it's either the 21st or the 24th of June. I can't remember the exact date, but it's coming up in like a week here. Like from when this podcast released, you'll have like maybe a week left to go to the Frontierland shooting arcade, which it's funny. So I saw, I read some forum comments. I read some Reddit comments on this. And so my personal take on this is, obviously as a DVC member, I'm looking at it as, okay, great. We're going to get a lounge. And, as a DVC member, I will definitely make use of that lounge. And, positioning wise, it's a decent place. We'll have to see, like, the only thing I can see is, for the parade, this could end up being like,
a problem.
Feel bad for the cast members every day at around like 2:00 when everybody's swarming in there to try and watch the parade from there. But maybe they'll leave it as a closed space and you won't be able to, like, if there's no windows looking out towards the parade, then it's just a lounge. And maybe that will be their intent, is that, they don't want it to be like an advantageous viewing place necessarily. But like I said, having it as a space to go and relax in the middle of Magic Kingdom, great as a DVC member. Now, some of the comments that I read about this, or some people's point of view, is that actually, I think the silliest thing I read was that somebody actually said, well, that's great for DVC members, but what about annual pass holders? To which I immediately thought about the fact that, everyone gets on annual pass holders as being entitled and whatnot. And, the thing is that they're making it sound like, annual pass holders, it's like, you bought an annual pass, a 1-year commitment to staying here. DVC members, you're like, the amount of money that you're putting
in it for
down,
the long run,
and you're in it for like 25 plus years, right? Like, so it's just,
you're gonna have the pass holders mad at you now.
Yeah, well, no, I've been a pass holder too. But it's funny that it's like the perspective on it is just kind of crazy from some people, that they think that it's that everybody should be entitled to everything. And the reality is that not everything at Disney is for you. Right.
That's true.
That's, I think, a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, is that they go, well, they're doing this thing and I don't like this thing. It's like, it's not for you. Right.
Yeah. And I'm excited for the comments on this.
Well, I'm being honest here.
You are.
So like I said,
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, for me, this is cool. I do also see, there's a lot of nostalgia comments going around on this because I forgot about this, because like in my head, initially when I thought about this, I was like, well, it makes sense that the shooting arcade's going away, because, and I'm crossing my wires between Disneyland and Disney World, because the one in Disneyland, I remember having to put quarters in to use it. So it was like you had to pay quarters. The one in Disney World, I forgot about this, even though like we did it a couple of times, was that it's free. You don't have to.
That was a recent change, though. It did cost money previously.
True, but that whole reasoning of, well, you had to get coins to use it. Nobody uses coins anymore. Like I shouldn't say nobody, but like the amount of people that are carrying cash to do stuff like this, I can see where it kind of fell off, and especially where people may have had the perception, even when it went free, that it was still like, oh, it's just it's like any arcade game where you got to drop quarters into it. I can see why the popularity of it fell off. But then, there's all these people commenting on, well, what, I remember going there with my kids. Yeah, I went with my kids too, but do you go there every time? I would pose the question of, if it was, such a great thing, how many times did I walk by there and there was nobody there, or there was like one person there using it? Like, I guess I don't see it as necessarily a loss, but again, because, for me personally, it is, I'm getting the benefit of, I will have a lounge that I can go to in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah. So, and no matter what you do, right? Like, no matter what they take away or replace or whatever, there's always somebody that's going to have some sort of nostalgic memory at that place. Right.
True.
And listen, I fully believe that. First of all, they did, and this wasn't in the article I sent. I think I did see somewhere that it's going to be about 2,500 square feet, right? I think somebody posted that in our Discord, is what the size of it's going to be. Because we had talked a little bit about that, like, well, that's not that big of a space. Like, how big of a space is this going to be? So the reporting is that it's going to be 2,500 square feet, which, I mean,
is that going to get uncomfortable quick when you got multiple hot, sweaty
they're gonna
people?
they're gonna have limits, right? Like, they're gonna limit it, like the Imagination Pavilion, right? But it's gonna be, I think it's gonna be challenging. But
Imagination Pavilion, like, there's space that everybody's spread out. There's not a lot of people in there, but there's like the space between you and the next nearest people is like 8 to 10 feet usually.
Yeah, I mean,
this is only 2,500 square feet. How, like, I don't know
how many people are they actually going to let in there?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. I am interested to see. I wanted to try to figure out how big the square footage was at the current EPCOT one, right? But it was kind of hard to find that information, right? So I didn't see it anywhere. But yeah, just to compare, I would like to compare and see, how big one is compared to the other. But one of the things I thought was interesting about this announcement, they said it's going to be a pioneer-inspired space influenced by the bygone era of exploration and adventure. Now, when I hear exploration and adventure, I think of one thing, Trevor, and that's the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. Yeah. So I do wonder if, I know it's Frontierland, and typically they throw the SEA references into Adventureland more, right? Like, it's more Jungle Cruise, like Skipper Canteen, that kind of area. But it's pretty adjacent.
But yes, but and yes. I actually found this out. I didn't realize this because I watched a video on like lore of Big Thunder Mountain. Yeah, and Big Thunder Mountain actually has some ties.
Oh, it does. Yeah, you're right.
To sea as well. So
it does.
So but I know what you're saying is typically Adventureland is the place for the Society of Adventurers and Explorers. But it definitely does extend into Frontierland. And the interesting thing too, like where this building is positioned, and a lot of these buildings, is that they are on that line between Frontierland and Adventureland, right? Yes. This is coming, or this is like right near like Country Bears and all that, where it's like you can walk, on one side you're on Frontierland, you walk to the other side, you're in Adventureland by the Tiki Room, right?
Yep, exactly.
So. And that makes me wonder too, is, are they going to open this up that, entrance wise, will it be accessible from both sides?
That is an interesting question. Yeah.
Yeah. And also we talked about this too in the rumors, am I going to be able to, by that knowledge, can I go grab a Dole Whip and bring the Dole Whip into the lounge? Because that's a pretty amazing prospect.
What if they had free Dole Whips within the lounge?
Oh, don't even. Yeah.
Listen,
that would be like there would be fights for getting into the lounge.
I just going back to just going back to SEA for a moment. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like that is the ultimate Disney Easter egg, right? Like they put references to that so many places that you would never notice. Like you were talking about Big Thunder. Like I know it's in there, but like they're like really, really like careful about where they put these things and how they mention these things and how they reference it. It's it's almost like a secret, Yeah.
And it's meant to be discovered and it's not meant to hit you in the face. Exactly. And also, like you said, that it's part of they're not just, the rides are not self-contained. They're part of a larger universe is what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to build like the lands and experiences into one cohesive thing that kind of connects it all together, which, I mean, do you need to do that? No. Is it fun to do that? Yeah, absolutely.
So, and like what you were talking about, right? So I actually just decided to look this up. For Big Thunder, in the queue of Big Thunder Mountain, there's a letter that's addressed to Barnabas T. Bullion from Jason Chandler, and it identifies him as the president of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. So it's like interesting, like little like thing. If you're not paying attention to the queue, you might not see it, but it's there, right? Yep. I mean, they have those kinds of references all over the place too. It's not just Big Thunder; it's a whole bunch of other places. So yeah, like there's even one over at Abracadabra on the boardwalk too. They have a SEA reference. Yeah. Like, so it's one of those things I really love. But I hope based on that announcement, yes,
you're hoping for a DVC SEA lounge.
Yes, that's 100%. Yes, that's what I want. Make it, because think about it, right? Like the society is all like kind of secretive and stuff, right? So this is like our secretive meeting spot, our secret lounge that we get to go to,
right? Which
and exclude everyone else from.
Then DVC needs to be rolled into the mythos of
it is.
SEA. Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it does.
So it would be the DVCC lounge.
Oh, I like it. DVCC.
DVCC. Yeah.
I like it. That's great. I mean, we don't have a really good name for the Epcot one, right? Like we just call it the Epcot Lounge. It doesn't have like a fun name to it.
Yeah, because it sits on top of the Imagination Pavilion. I mean, people commented because it's hot up there that it's like a goldfish bowl.
I always thought it was pretty well air conditioned up there, but that's one of the reasons you go up there, right?
Yeah. I mean, some days it can get hot because it's just all glass.
Because you're basically in a greenhouse, yeah.
But all right. But yeah, back to this one. Like I said, people are understandably upset because things are changing. But I'm still of the opinion, like many other people, that that is kind of the whole underlying ethos of the parks, is that they will constantly change. And it's funny because, people talk about, current Disney or, classic Disney is better. And it's like, did you know that there was a pirate ship in Fantasyland at one point? Like, no, you didn't, because it's been gone for so long that everyone's forgotten about it. So, the point about, things are changing and I don't like it, is that, you're seeing the change, but you don't realize how much change came before you even got there. The moment that we all walk into the park, the first time you walk into the park, that's your image of the park. Yeah. But that's not what the park is. Like it's your image and your view and your memories of it. But like the Disney parks have changed so much over the years that, if you really sat down and looked at it, they're not the same as what you remember at all. Like it's
well, but that was always the point, though, right? They're always supposed to evolve, and especially Disney does this when they have. I mean, listen, I know you guys, like, there's a lot of people out there that probably have a lot of fond memories at the shooting academy. And like you said, when's the last time you did it? Right. It's the same thing with Country Bears, right? Like, a lot of people love Country Bears, but when's the last time you actually went to Country Bears?
Yeah.
Right?
When have you seen a line for it is the thing.
Exactly.
And that's not to say that, everything needs to have a line all the time, but
it kind of does.
if there are certain attractions, or if there's certain spaces that are falling off, and I'll use Odyssey as another example too, where the Odyssey building sat empty for a long time, and it was like you would walk by it and all of a sudden be like, you would look over and go, oh, like, what's that building, right? Why are they not using that building, right? Yeah. And this is the same kind of thing, is like, if you walk through Frontierland, the way that I think about this is that this space where, like, Country Bears and the Shootin' Arcade and all that, I never stop anywhere along there, because I'm always walking from somewhere in Adventureland or from Tiana / Splash Mountain, and I'm walking over to Haunted Mansion. Like, nowhere along that space am I stopping for anything, right? Which, I'm sure Disney's asking themselves, well, why are people not stopping here? Like, the only reason that I ever see people anywhere along here is because that the one side is shaded during the day and they're just trying to get out of the sun. Like, other than that, no, like I hate to say it, and people may not want to hear this, but the Shootin' Arcade it's not a good use of space. And just because they turned it into a DVC lounge, that could be gone in 5 years and it could be something else. But it doesn't matter what they turn it into. The fact of the matter is that it's a space that, it's not just about them expanding, but also looking at their existing spaces and making sure they're being utilized. Yeah. Right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So if the space is not being utilized properly, or because, if somebody from Disney, if they stood in this area for a day and found that a total of 40 people went to the Shooting Arcade, it's like, well, we have this, 2,500 square foot area and, 40 people are using it throughout the day. Like, exactly. What's the point? Right.
Yeah. Well, and to your point about the nostalgia thing too, who talks about wishes anymore? Right. Like, mm-hmm. And we talked about this when Happily Ever After came out, and we were like, well, everyone's going to forget that wishes existed and stop complaining about it because Happily Ever After is going to come out. And then eventually Happily Ever After will go away. And then people will complain about that, which is exactly what happened. Right. Like,
yeah, but Happily Ever After went away too fast.
It did. You're right. You're right. But also the thing. So this is what I'll say about Wishes versus Happily Ever After. I watched Wishes, and Wishes was good, but Happily Ever After built on Wishes. So it's not just saying, it's better than Wishes. It's that they took some things from Wishes and they built on it and they made a better show. And it shows in that when they released that, I can't remember the name, like, there was that other show that they tried to replace it with. It was Enchanted, I think. Yeah.
The name of it.
Yeah. Enchantment.
But yeah, Enchantment. Yeah. So that shows that, the new show is not always the better show. It's just Happily Ever After did end up being better than Wishes.
Yeah. I mean, listen, even if you don't
come at me in the comments, like,
but I mean, even if you don't like Happily Ever After, you can look at the two and objectively say, yes, this is a technically better show. Right. Like, because I mean, all they did with Wishes was just like light the castle up purple. Like, and there was nothing else happening. It was fireworks and music. And listen, there was an emotional connection to Wishes. Like, the Wishes song always made my wife, like, tear up a little bit. But like, she gets that with Happily Ever After too. So
yeah, and even Illuminations. My wife tears up at that in Epcot. Like it's not exclusive to Wishes.
Oh, I still listen to that soundtrack sometimes. So
Illuminations is good. We are down a weird rabbit hole here, but
we need to do our ad, and then we're going to talk about some other things.
Okay, this week is DVC Resale Market. DVC Resale Market, a World of DVC company, is the leader in the DVC resale industry with 13 former Disney Vacation Club guides and 3 former Disney Vacation Club quality assurance managers. If you're thinking of buying DVC, browse the largest selection of DVC resale listings anywhere, with DVC experts on hand 7 days a week to answer your questions. If you're thinking of selling, turn to the friendly professionals at DVC Resale Market, where over 98% of listings sell within 30 days. In 2023, DVC Resale Market helped over 4,400 families join or add on to their memberships. Go to dvcresalemarket.com/welcome home or call 1-844-DVC-PROS. That's 382-7767. And when you speak to them, be sure to let them know the Welcome Home sent you.
All right. So let's talk about I'm like always like gun shy now to say this guy's name because like I get so much like for some reason I'm always saying it wrong.
Josh D'Amaro. D'Amaro. I don't know.
Tomorrow. I don't know. So
D'Amaro. Hey, it's like paging Mr. Tom Morrow.
Mr. Paging Mr. D'Amaro. So
Mr. D'Amaro. Yeah. There you go.
So he said at a media event this past week, he had said that many projects are going to be announced during D23 this year in August. And he specifically said that Disney fans can expect Disney World announcements about more than just Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, which is an interesting thing to say because we kind of know the things that are going to be happening not really, but we know vaguely, right? Like what's going to happen at Dinoland. We know Big Thunder.
Yeah, we know work is happening beyond Big Thunder and the Tropical Americas in Dino, or previously Dinoland. So
exactly,
you're right. We know, but then he says that there's going to be more outside of that. So that implies Epcot,
the other parks, or
Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and I mean, I guess potentially that could also mean Disney Springs and the water parks.
So based on this is what I want to speculate about, right? Because based on the agreement they just made, talking about minor parks, I'm almost wondering if Disney's going to build a new water park, and I don't know if they're not in addition to, but maybe close one of those water parks down completely and do something new. Because I mean, you guys were talking about Volcano Bay, right? Is really nice, right?
Yeah.
And part of that's because they built it recently. Disney's parks were, of really high standard, but they're old at this point.
They were built in the 90s, correct?
Yeah. I think that's it. But
so they're 30 plus years old at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So I wouldn't be surprised if they because I feel like the water parks don't get nearly as much love as they should. So Typhoon Lagoon was 89, so it's 35 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean,
I still love Typhoon Lagoon, though. I really hope that. I mean, Typhoon Lagoon feels like their like flagship water park of the two.
Well, interestingly enough, I mean, according to this Wikipedia article in 2022, they were still the top visited park above Volcano Bay too, as far as water parks go. So, which is interesting to me. And it looks like Blizzard Beach. So, by the way, Blizzard Beach was 1995, so that's probably the one you were thinking. So that's 95. So that one's only about 30 years old, right?
Yeah, only 30 years old.
Only 30 years old, But I don't know. I could just see them doing something, really big to around that. I don't know. I could be wrong. This is reckless speculation time, right? This is like, what are they going to do? I also, Trevor, I've been having my fingers crossed about this one forever. I got two things for Epcot, right? Even though they just finished all the Epcot work, right? New country and finally doing something with the Wonders of Life Pavilion.
Oh, that is a good point. So as you were saying that, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, what are they going to do at Epcot? Because they just finished like doing the whole center area, right?
Yes.
They
could do that without making Walcott again, right? They could do those two things without putting Walcott.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is you're right. Because they had that whole area planned for Wonders of Life Pavilion, and then they shelved that. So maybe that's back on the table. That's fair. But I hope that they revisit because they remember we talked about it a while ago. They had this plan for like a Pixar Friends area or something like that.
Well, that's the Magic Kingdom one, though, right?
That
was at the Beyond Big Thunder, right, where they were going to do like a
No,
They were gonna-
or no, I thought it was a not just Pixar, I guess, but like it was like animated characters. Not like
okay.
interventions, but like
I don't remember this.
yeah, it's the funny thing is I can see because you had a concept art that you found for it, and I can see it in my head, but I can't remember what they proposed.
Oh, I had thought that you were referring to like the Frontierlandy Toy Story thing that they were going to do.
No, this was like when we talked about it, it was supposed to be like an interventions type space. So like an indoor like play area, like Pixar play something or other. And it was all going to be themed. I remember specifically, or they were talking about it was going to be like I guess not just Pixar, but like animated characters. So like like Wreck-It Ralph and stuff like that were all supposed to be in the mix of it. And we had talked about that. And then I think that this was actually back like either during COVID or at the beginning of COVID. So obviously that got scrapped. But I guess I forgot. That's a whole space that can be expanded upon. But then you were talking about another country, like where? Okay.
Well, do you remember D23? Like I want to say 2018, 2019.
Yeah, we talked
was
about
heavily
this a long
rumored.
time ago. Yeah,
it was heavily rumored that Brazil was going to be added to the World Showcase. That's what I remember it being. And I mean, we're talking. I think it was 2018 or 2019. I forget which one, but we definitely talked about it on the show, and it was heavily rumored that there was going to be a whole new area there. They also, had kind of sort of announced too, remember in a previous D23 that they were going to do that whole Mary Poppins thing back in the England area of the World Showcase. Maybe that's on the table again.
Yeah. It's funny. I forgot how much stuff that they had planned about or that they had talked about doing, or that was like in planning that completely fell off.
Oh yeah.
And I guess there is more there than I initially thought for Epcot. So there is definitely some potential for, like, I guess it won't be like on the scale of like new land size, right?
It could be. I mean, well, I see it more probably for like Epcot and Hollywood Studios is, hey, maybe they add another ride to Galaxy's Edge. Maybe they add another ride to Toy Story Land. Maybe
so let's talk about Hollywood Studios now.
Yeah.
So we know there's potential for stuff at Epcot. Okay, Hollywood Studios. And I know I've said this before. There is so much unused space at Hollywood Studios, and this actually goes back to talking about the shooting arcade closing down in Magic Kingdom. Is that like there's that whole area like heading towards Star Tours, the what's it called, Echo Lake? Yeah, Echo Lake.
Yeah.
Where it just feels dead. And someone's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but it feels dead. Like there's a whole space there, and I don't want to say that they should take out Echo Lake, because I do like
get rid of Gertie. I'm gonna have a problem if we get rid of Gertie.
Okay, and that's the thing is that I feel that having, and it's a weird thing because it's not like I want to jump in the water, but I feel like having lakes or having water in the park feels better, like from an aesthetic point of view. Like there should be stuff like that in the park, so I don't feel like that should go away. But like all the buildings around there, all that stuff just doesn't feel like it's being used, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even like going towards Galaxy's Edge, like heading towards Star Tours. It's like it's not until you actually get close to Star Tours where like the aesthetic changes to like, oh, like you're like jungle and there's an AT-AT and all this stuff, right? That it actually like starts to get interesting. It's like when you first come into Hollywood Studios, that whole section off to the side there feels just like there's nothing going on, right?
I could see
and to me that like, and I'm not saying like the problem is if you said, well, redo that whole thing, you're creating another Walcott, which, I don't like that either, but they have to do something with Hollywood Studios because they're leaning too heavily on Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land, in my opinion. But
it's been bringing the crowds, man. Like that park has been busy constantly. Right?
Yeah, because of those two lands.
Yeah, 100%.
Exclusively because of those two lands.
And that's the problem, right?
You could have made that a fifth gate. Like this is the thing, is that they could have made Galaxy's Edge and Toy Story Land a fifth gate away from Hollywood Studios, and they'd still be just as busy. And the rest of Hollywood Studios would still be not busy.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what I noticed when I was there, is that, like, we were walking around, and it was like there was spaces where it's like, oh, there's nobody here, and then you go around the corner and it's crazy busy because the entrance to Galaxy's Edge and heading over towards Tower of Terror and all that, like those areas, it's like those side areas are busy, but the central area is not, which is funny because, like, when you look at Magic Kingdom, like the hub in Magic Kingdom and Main Street and all that is always busy.
Yeah.
And so there, it feels off in Hollywood Studios. So I would love to see them redo that, but then also I would really love for them to do something with Rock and Roller Coaster, not replace it, but retheme it. Would be nice if they would announce something like that, because people have been talking about it for way too long, and about
it going away.
well, not going away, but just not being Aerosmith anymore.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't need to be an Aerosmith coaster, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing, by the way, that D23 this year is going to be while I'm on a cruise ship, which is going to be really that's going to be terrible. I'm going to be wanting to know what's going on.
You don't think they're going to have it like broadcast somewhere? Like, I'm sure you're going to be able to find somewhere to watch it.
Well, no, because I'm not going to be on the Disney. I'm not on a Disney ship. I'm on just on a Royal Caribbean ship.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I'm going to be totally. Yeah.
You can get spotty Wi-Fi on your phone and watch it.
I'm just going back, by the way. So 2019 was the year they announced the Play Pavilion over at the Wonders of Life Pavilion, and then they also had announced the Mary Poppins attraction that was supposed to be at in the UK over at World Showcase. Which, listen, this stuff can still happen. I mean, like, Imagineering has always said that they don't let good ideas die, meaning, like, if they had a good idea at some point but didn't do it, they still will keep it around, and eventually it might get done.
It may come back in 5, 10, 20 years.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's totally possible they still do this Mary Poppins thing. I remember this D23 because it had all these really cool, like, resort these attraction posters that they were doing. This was the year that they redid all of the some of the World Showcase videos, the movies, like the Canada one and the China one. They did the Beauty and the Beast thing. This is when they started doing Harmonious. We've talked about this many times. I really liked Harmonious. It could have been so much better if they just figured out a way to make it go away during the day.
Yeah.
And also make it so that everybody could have seen it and you didn't have to be straight on. So, yeah. But anyway.
The Stargate was not a great.
No, the Stargate was not great. Stargate and tacos, right? I mean, listen, I think it's going to be interesting. And, he may be teasing this and it's not going to be like, it's going to be minor things, but I don't feel like it's going to be because, now that we have seen this agreement that they've made with the district there, they have to, in the next 10 years, invest a lot of money. So that's going to start soon. Like, that's, I mean, heck, we might even get like a new hotel announcement, right? Like, maybe they announced that Reflections is starting back up again, or the long rumored EPCOT hotel. I mean, there's a lot of that could be happening. We have no idea because even though like a lot of these blogs have like decent sources that they can like, get, or even like the message boards, right, where they can, get some really good information. Disney still surprises people a lot. Like, there are still some things that they announced that nobody knew was coming, Yeah,
you're right. They absolutely, they selectively let rumors leak.
I think so. Yeah.
It's weird to think that they actually have somebody, like, there's probably a board meeting somewhere where they're like, so we can let the,
Should we leak?
yeah, we can let this leak this week, or, you can, let this out to your associates or whatever. It almost feels like FBI level intelligence. Like, they probably have like different levels of security where it's like, if it's like crazy high security, then, only a handful of people, or you have to like, sign something to say that you'll never speak about this or whatever. Like, yeah, that's what it feels like.
It
sometimes.
does. It does. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So, okay. Well, listen, I think there's
lots to speculate on, but let's wait and see. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be more as we get closer to August to talk about this. And hopefully some of these things that we're speculating about actually come to be again. It would be nice, like you said, for them to come back around and, do some of these things that we talked about, like 5 years ago.
Yeah. Listen, I have to believe too, if they're going to do something at Hollywood Studios, like expanding like Galaxy's Edge, like I feel like it's going to be Mandalorian themed, right? Like, because Mandalorian was too big of a thing for them not to take advantage of that.
Right. But, I guess which way would you expand it? Because the road is like right behind Galaxy's Edge. I don't know that they have much more room to actually expand. That's the other thing about Hollywood Studios as well, is that I don't like it, or I guess the expansion feels like it could go past where Star Tours is, which is
yeah. I mean, they could take out a bunch of parking though too, right? I mean, there's a whole bunch of parking right there that they could just. And actually, right behind Galaxy's Edge, there is some like tree area and some roads that they could just bust out. Although, the Star Cruiser is not far from there. But, listen, we might also hear about what they're going to do with the Star Cruiser, too. I mean, they've fairly recently hinted that they were going to do something with it. They just hadn't announced it yet. So, I mean, maybe we'll find out what's going to happen there, too.
Be a new Starbucks.
A very large, literally Starbucks instead of Star Wars.
Yeah, it's easy. Just replace Cruiser with Bucks.
Just take a piece of paper with a Sharpie, write Bucks, and then just cover up where it says Star Wars, and just the Wars part, and there you go, done. Starbucks. But yeah, listen, there's a lot they can do, and I'm really interested to see what they're going to announce. I would love a new pavilion at EPCOT. That would be really cool, because we haven't got a new pavilion in a very long time. So
yeah, I agree. I'm just I feel the biggest hurdle I see with that is they have to negotiate with countries on it, right?
Yeah, that's always a challenge. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the newly opened CommuniCore Hall, which I missed by a little bit, by like a month basically, which is really disappointing.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so you posted this article talking about seven things to know about CommuniCore Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, what are they trying to tell me here besides the fact that there's character meets?
Not much,
because because I don't really see. I'll be honest, like, this building looks nice, but I don't know what there is going on here. Like, it doesn't.
Well, they have the Plaza stage where they have that temporary Encanto show, right? And they're going to they plan to do, a bunch of different things for like all the festivals at that space. Like, that's a flexible space. And then they have the character meet and greets thing.
Okay, that's fair. And I guess the problem is that I know, like, there's a temporary show there, but it feels like that, like, they've opened up this space and it's not being used. But I guess if it's dependent on shows, it's going to take them some time to ramp up to that. So
from what I've seen too, there's a fair amount of open space around it though too, which is like, I've seen like a lot of places to sit and like, a lot of like I said, a lot more like open space, and then also to the like you said, the character greeting. So, but yeah, that's also, this place at night is awesome. I have not seen it in person, but I'm seeing all the pictures and videos of it, and I really, really want to see it, especially with the show on Spaceship Earth with the lights. I know it all coordinates, but The pictures of this at night are awesome. I love the whole theme in the building, just because of the way it really correlates with all of the theming that they do in Epcot. It just looks great to me. So, but I know what you're saying. Like I it's like more of an amorphous space, right?
Yeah. Here's something weird that I saw. So I was confused about this at first. So they're talking about a kitchen space in CommuniCore Hall, which apparently they've moved. So you could watch the culinary team make stuff at Connections, but apparently there's a show kitchen going in over at CommuniCore Hall, so you can like watch people make liege waffles and.
Well, because they've done that before during like the Food and Wine Festival, where they've had like demonstrations, like they've had like events like that before. So this is their permanent spot to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's what this is supposed to be about, right? And then exactly.
All right. So yeah, I guess I was having a hard time understanding like what the space was actually for, but like you said, the fact that it's like an adjustable space just makes it like, I guess when everything else feels like it has a very specific, deliberate purpose, CommuniCore Hall feels off at the moment, but I think it's because we haven't seen it actually in full swing yet.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Exactly. Right. So, I mean, I like the fact that there's these big spaces that, you can go and sit and eat and relax. And the stage is like an outdoor, it's a whole like outdoor stage area. That's pretty cool. Where you could just walk up and watch stuff and just hear it as you're walking by too, if you want. But there's also like grassy areas around it too. So like you can sit on the grass. Like one of the things I love that Disney does sometimes is like, for being the biggest theme parks in the world, for putting like grassy areas out and space that is just kind of open and that you can just sit in and just relax. It's a weird thing, like you would think like, okay, there's all this busyness going on around me. Like, why is there just a lawn here for me to hang out on? But those are the great spaces though. I love that they do that. And this has a lot of that because they put a bunch of those grassy spaces right outside the stage. So you could just sit there on the grass and watch whatever's going on that stage. Right.
Right.
So, yeah, but like you said, it's a little bit, I think it's just because they haven't filled it with things yet,
Yeah. I think that's the bit of a hard sell on it right now is that, we waited so long for all this stuff to be done. We've talked about this for years where it's like, oh, these walls and they're making these buildings and hurry up and all that. And it's like, it's open. And
well, I mean, because it's not a ride, it's not an attraction. Yeah. It's like an event space, right? So it's like, can you get excited about an event space? I don't know.
Right. But I think about like, even the journey or the Moana space, right? The Journey into Water space is it's like, that's not a ride or anything. Like it's an attraction and it has a purpose. But it was like, when that opened up, it was like, oh, I want to go in there and look around this space right now because it's like, it's not clearly defined what it is or what, why you're going there at the moment. Because, and reading all this stuff about them talking about, there's going to be, special guests coming for like culinary demonstrations and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, but right now it's like, okay, but why am I going there? Like it feels weird to have like a brand new shiny space that you're walking by because you have no reason to go in there to even like look around, right? If there's nothing going on, like you're not just going in there.
Just the Encanto.
Well, right. But, and the thing is, but the Encanto thing is also it's limited time, limited run thing at the moment.
Well, because right? I think once Food and Wine starts, you're going to see a lot of events happening at this.
Oh, probably. And you're right. That'll probably make more sense is, I feel like Disney over the summer here is they're not overtaxing themselves with like bringing a whole bunch of stuff into Epcot. And I guess, the more I think about it is you don't want to start something new in the middle of summer because, people are already hard to deal with when it's that hot out. You don't need to be trying to figure out. Yeah. You don't need to be trying to figure out an entertainment space like that in the middle of summer. And like you said, I think, going towards Food and Wine means, into the fall, they can kind of focus more on what makes sense and what doesn't make sense about the space. Because I know like they put a lot of thought into it, but I think Disney doesn't realize, or they do realize, but this is the same problem. Like, it doesn't matter how much planning you do. People always find a way to like break your plans. That it's like, you're like, oh, they should use the space this way, and then you'll find out that people don't want this. They want, or they're doing something else, and so then you have to, like, they're always having to adjust. And I feel like, maybe Disney is, we're having this lull where it's open but not really doing anything because, they want to wait until they can actually like plan and focus with something like Food and Wine and see how people react to it. And then, and this kind of goes back to what Damon said about, when things are first open, it runs a certain way, but then they'll change it because, they'll find that there's like a part of the show that doesn't work or whatever, right? I feel this is the same kind of thing as an entertainment space, is that, maybe this isn't CommuniCore's final form that we're seeing.
Well, I think it's meant to be that way, right? Though it's a flexible space that they can use for a variety of different things, right? So I'm sure they're going to use it in ways that we haven't even thought of or will think of, right? Because it's going to be, whatever they want to use it for. I mean, they were already doing like these demonstrations and stuff with Food and Wine, and they just were, they were in random spots, because there's a bunch of random spots that are available. So this is just supposed to be the dedicated spot. By the way, they also did open a quick service over here too called Festival Favorites, which is I guess some of the festival favorites from the festival booths. So
maybe year round, like things that are popular from a particular festival actually get, like, you can actually get it outside of the festival. Is that
exactly?
Wow.
They
Okay.
were doing that they were doing that for a while. I feel like at the Odyssey, I want to say that they were doing that, but now they have a dedicated spot for it. So, and
the Odyssey stuff though or every time I go by the Odyssey, it's always like, it's something very specific. It never felt like there was, or it felt like just another, honestly, space as part of like Food and Wine or Flower and Garden. Like, it never seemed like they were doing like exclusive stuff there.
Yeah.
But if this is like, Food and Wine's over, but you can still get this Food and Wine stuff, year round at this place, or maybe an amalgamation of all the festivals, like the most popular things.
Well, I will say the only two things that they have right now are two different kinds of arepas, and then a coconut tres leches cake. But
okay,
yeah,
the arepas were good though. You have to.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, they were. Yeah. No, I love arepas. I do. I was just saying that they only have two options. It's not like they have like 10 things on there from like a bunch of different booths. It's just basically, and they're probably going to rotate, right? It's probably going to rotate pretty frequently, I would think. So.
I said maybe it'll be, based on popularity, the most popular thing gets a year in that space or something. But yeah, we'll have to see.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So
what else do we got to talk about?
We talked about Country Bears, and this is not something we need to talk about a lot, but they have announced the reopening date of Country Bears, and which is going to be July 17th. So
it's
I will
only
be
a month away.
It is. It's very soon. This is a very fast refurb. I mean, which, why wouldn't it be? But, it's not like they're replacing roller coaster tracks, It's
just animatronics,
Yeah, just some animatronics and some songs, right? Like, not that big of a deal. But, because they probably were able to, much like, things like Tiana, right? Like, they program those things offsite anyway, right? And then they just bring them in and hook them up, and of course they refine it once they're there, but it's, they're not sitting there programming it in the theater from scratch, right?
Yeah.
So they're already prepared by the time they close this to bring that stuff in.
It's weird to think that there's probably another Country Bear type space somewhere that's not open to the public.
What do you mean?
Well, because you just said, they had to like program these.
Oh, at like Imagineering, there was just a bunch of Country Bears hanging out at Imagineering.
Well, I feel like they wouldn't just be hanging out, but they would be like figuring out like positioning. So like it would almost be like the show, because they would want to figure out how everything plays together in the show. But it's just like the show sitting somewhere with no audience or something. Like, that's a weird idea.
Well, it's funny though too. They might not have replaced these animatronics. They might have just given them new outfits and reprogrammed them, right? I mean, like, I don't think
You really
anybody
think so?
I don't know. They didn't. They're not, the only reason I'm saying that is because they don't mention anywhere that they replaced the animatronics, and I feel like they would have mentioned that. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like they would have to, because those animatronics are really old.
They are,
and if they have they have these new ones that they've been advertising with Tiana's, like,
that's what I'm saying. Why wouldn't they advertise it if they did it? You know.
Well, but I mean, we're a month out. Maybe that'll be one of the
That's
things
true.
here that they,
Yeah, I mean, maybe, I don't know.
Sorry, I'm just reading, or I'm reading this article to see if there was any hints at it, but yeah, I don't see anything that hints at. They're just talking about the song selections and stuff right now.
Which seems to be the main thing, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I have not seen anything speculating one way or the other, right? But listen, maybe keeping the same animatronics will keep some of the charm of it. I don't know.
Yeah, until they break.
Until they break. Yeah. Until maybe they replace some of the, insides of them, whatever, the motors and stuff. Anyway. Oh man. Okay. So I guess we'll see. I'll definitely watch a video of it once it comes out. So
yeah, for sure.
All right. And this last one here, go ahead, Trevor.
Yeah. So I was going to say that this last one, so we have some, it's some behind the scenes of the new Little Mermaid show coming to Hollywood studios. Which
time they put that back into the studios that ended during COVID, and yeah,
I almost forgot about this, or actually, I did completely forget about this.
That it was happening because they announced it a while ago. Yeah,
they did. But the interesting thing is, to me, is that it is a live show, but they're showing off the combination of different things that they're doing here is pretty interesting. So there's going to be the puppetry that was originally in the show, but then it looks like they're doing some motion capture, some projecting, some there's a lot of different Imagineering things going on in this show, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, they have a quote here. We're using some really cutting edge tools like motion capture technology, which you've seen in blockbuster films. Basically, we have a live performer in a suit covered in sensors, and the data captured from their performance helps us create digital animations of the character, which our animators then use to bring them to life on stage. So I don't think they're going to be doing, it's not live motion capture, right? They're just using it for the animations that they're creating, I'm assuming.
I've actually seen there is some, I've seen some stuff there's been some live shows that have actually done live motion capture. Like the ability to do that now is way easier. I mean, if you watch I don't know if you probably don't go on Twitch very often. I go on there because of gaming. But I've seen like people do digital avatars and stuff that's exactly what it is. It's motion capturing whatever movement they're doing live. So they could absolutely do this on stage where they have, somebody basically driving a character on stage from a motion capture scene, right?
It says this cutting edge digital imagery will be used throughout the show to accent what's happening on stage, bringing characters to life like King Triton, Ursula, and even Ariel sisters. So
I do like that they're using the blacklight puppets again. I always like that as an effect for some reason.
The blacklight puppets,
because it's just it makes for a really interesting because you can't see the puppeteers, right? It's specifically designed that it almost creates this. I remember this from when I was a kid. I remember seeing shows where people were doing puppetry, but they're using the black lights, and it's stuff is floating, it looks very otherworldly is the best way I can put it. And I mean it works with this show absolutely. So I'm glad that they didn't drop any of that entirely for we could do all of this digitally, and it's technically it's a live show, but it's all digital. So then is it I don't know. It doesn't. Doesn't seem like a live show, right?
Well, the interesting thing that too here, just to read more quotes from the Imagineers, we're really blending the line between real and digital in ways we've never done before to completely fill the stage for show-stopping scenes. You're going to see these large new physical sets we've created blend seamlessly with a digital environment in a way that really fills the stage. You'll see digital puppets transform into real ones before your eyes. You'll even see animated characters performing in the same space as real actors. It's going to feel like magic. That's really interesting, right?
Okay.
So yeah, I'm trying to even imagine the whole digital puppets transforming into real one thing.
I mean, you know that effect with that we've seen with the Beauty and the Beast ride. In Hong Kong, where the transformation that from the Beast into the Prince, or I don't even know what his name is. Someone's going to kill me for not remembering his name.
I forget his name too.
Yeah. But yeah, you know, that kind of transformation, like maybe we'll actually get to see something like that, right? Like, because like Disney has access to a lot of different techniques for doing stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I find this the interesting thing too, the animated characters performing in the same space as real actors. Like, obviously that's something they've been doing in movies for a very long time, right? I always think of Roger Rabbit, but of course, you know, Mary Poppins and all the way, you know, they've done it with a lot of things, but
those
I've never seen it in a real setting though, you know?
Yeah. The thing about those is that they're in a closed space and they're very like, they can retake and they can fine tune it that it works 100%. The problem with doing it live is that, you know, people are not always on their mark, or, you know, you're not like, you do have to interact with the other characters. And transitioning between digital and live actors, that's, again, I'll be impressed to see how they do that. Yeah,
absolutely. This is like, it's funny because we largely ignored this show its entire existence. And then there was one day we decided, and this is before my daughter was born, that we went to 3 different parks in one day. Like we started off the day at Magic Kingdom, we went to EPCOT, and then we went to Hollywood Studios. And Hollywood Studios happened to be really busy that day, and the only thing that like didn't have a line was the Little Mermaid show. We're like, let's go do this. We've never done it before. Let's do it, right? And it was a great show, and it was sad when it went away, you know, during COVID. But for it to come back like this with all sorts of cool new effects, I'm going to make a point to go and see this next time we're there.
Well, and I mean, understandably, you know, I'm sure your daughter will love to see this too.
There's that me, too.
Yeah. For me, it'll be, you know, my wife and I will probably go see it. You know, if my son is with us, I don't know if I'll be able to convince him to go watch a Little Mermaid show.
Fair.
I mean, we're in those teenage years where, you know, I can't hardly get him to do anything.
That's fair. That's fair. My daughter loves Little Mermaid. In fact, somebody had asked her, you know, they were like, oh, how was your Disney trip? And, you know, she said, good. And they're like, what was your favorite ride? And she said, the Ariel ride. So, and to be fair, I think we rode it 4 times while we were there, you know, which is fine.
It's a good ride.
Yeah, it's a great ride. Yeah, it's fun. She loves it. So, you know, I don't mind, you know, riding on it, but my daughter loves Little Mermaid and loves Ariel. So I think it'll be right up her alley. And you know, I like a good show. I mean, I'm one that's not a huge fan of the Beauty and the Beast show that's at Hollywood Studios, and I haven't seen it in years. But I remember the last time I saw it, I was like, they just stuffed an entire movie storyline into like 10 minutes, and like half of it doesn't make sense unless you've seen the movie. Like if you haven't seen the movie, it makes no sense at all.
Right.
So, I mean, it's well done and there's good singers and, you know, stuff, but it's very basic. Like this is like, to me, next level of what the stage show should be, you know?
Now, do you think they're going to do the same thing though, where they try and condense the entire movie plot line into...
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that's what they do on the ride. I mean, you know, the ride is like...
Fair, but I guess it like I feel like they could be a little smarter about it and only like take a subsection of it out. Like I don't know. Like
it's like, hey, we just met. Oh, I love you already. Let's get married. You know?
Yeah, you know, they could start from like you know, hey, they met and you know Eric's trying to figure out what Ariel wants. Like start it like in the middle. Of the show instead of I don't know. I feel like trying to condense an entire movie into a 10-minute stage show is not the right move. But
I agree. All right.
all
Should we
right,
wrap this up?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Wow. We actually got through everything. Okay.
I know. I know. It's great. And it wasn't as long as we typically go either. Look at that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we can wrap this up here. I guess I'll start. If you guys have any questions about anything you heard on the show, or you want to share your own trip reports or anything like that, you can always find us at welcomehomepodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys and, just sharing in all the Disney stuff that we talk about. We are also on social media. You can find us on Facebook as Welcome Home Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as Welcome Home Podcast, and you can find us on Instagram as Welcome Home Pics. Make sure if you're on Facebook, you also check out our group called Welcome Home Disney Waitlist. It's a great place where we have our listeners talking about their stuff from the show, but also sharing their own thoughts, talking about trip planning, talking about stuff going on in the parks, memes, all that kind of stuff. So if you want a good Disney Facebook group to hang out in, please come check it out. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to store.welcomehomepodcast.com. You can check out our shirts and mugs and stuff like that. I said, hey, we were talking about shirts at the beginning of the show. If you need a shirt for your next trip, maybe check out the store. I guess you could do the family shirt thing as Welcome Home Podcast shirts, but I don't think that would work very well.
No, I don't think so either.
Yeah. But you can still get matching shirts. I mean, I won't stop you from getting matching shirts. I know. If it's like 12 people, it might be a little much. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, if you need a shirt, please check out our store. And we also do have a Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/welcomehomepod. You can check out our the different levels of Patreon support there, which has an exclusive logo that is not available on the store. And our Patreon listeners also get access to the Discord server. So, if you like Discord and you want to have another place where we talk about the show and all kinds of random stuff as well, please have a look at that. And last but not least, we talked about iTunes reviews at the beginning of the show, but I'll mention it again here that if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a 5-star review. It does help more people find the show. And, write us a review because we love hearing from you guys and hearing what you think about the show.
Yeah. And also, don't forget to subscribe to Welcome Home Podcast so you'll be reminded every time we release a new episode. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube Music, pretty much any podcast app that's out there. You can find us, just search for Welcome Home. Look for the one that says Disney and DVC and the castle with the microphones on the top. That's us. So just a reminder to our listeners, Welcome Home Podcast for entertainment only. We are not employed by the Walt Disney Company, and as such, all opinions we express on the show are our own, so please consult a DVC representative or Disney cast member for more information about anything we talked about today. Huge thank you to our sponsors, as always, DVC Resale Market and World of DVC for sponsoring our show and being supporters of the show. Please check them out for any DVC-related needs. Join us next time for more Disney Parks discussion. Of course, more DVC talk. We hope to see you all real soon.
This is Skipper Albert A. Wall, the voice of the jungle, signing off from Welcome Home Podcast on the DVC.
Do a huddle when we hit a chair. How she can cuddle is no man's affair. I looked around from pole to pole, found her in a sugar bowl, eating